All right, folks, it is Thursday night. It is, what's today, guys? April the 16th, 17th, something like that? 14th, 16th, 14th. Holding them fingers up. Hey, folks, listen, it is mid-April. Can you believe it? Deer season's not going to be long off, and it hasn't been long came. It is that time of year. A lot of people around the country is deer hunting. Oh, by the way, look here. Old Don's doing it by himself. I know you guys watching this show, you think, does Steve and Don ever get together? Well, folks, believe it or not, we some busy folks down here in North Florida and South Alabama. This time of year, folks, Portland Outdoors is growing, and we're just like little bees. We're buzzing all over the country trying to get stuff for you to be able to kill you a big buck this fall to where you can walk in your local sporting goods store or your Walmart store, Bass Pro, Cabela's, Dick's, Gander, all them boys, but you can get you some product to hunt you a deer this year. So we do apologize. We will all be back in here together, but right now old Don's got it tonight. And listen, it is mid-April. It is that time of year. Turkey season's in most of the places in the country. And doggone it, this past weekend I'm coming through and actually coming back into Pensacola, and I had this gobbler out there in full strut. Now the problem is he wasn't in full strut at daylight. Of course he's on full strut on up in the morning. Of course he's on the blacktop. You know, it's down here they just seem like they want to strut on the blacktop, and of course it's not on no piece of property. So, you know, the right thing to do is let him go, which is what I did. Which is what I did. But I'm just telling you what he was doing, which is almost like him giving you the bad finger. You know what I'm saying? You guys know what I'm talking about. But it is that time of year. These old boys, they're in full strut. God, it's pretty down here this time of year too, and hearing old boys gobble, and that's just giving you something to do to get ready to go deer hunting again. And listen, folks, while you're out there turkey hunting, notice what's going on. You'll see the deer, you'll look at your property, you'll see the property that you hunt in a different way, and you need to be taking note about that because those deer aren't dead. The deer that you didn't kill last year, those fawns, everything's going about life, redoing. Them bucks are getting antlers back again, and it's all coming up again while you're doing this and going turkey hunting and you're going deer hunting. You're fishing, getting ready to go deer hunting. So even though it's mid-April, it's all about hunting the rut here. And so stay tuned. When we get back, we're going to have a full show for you. Got a surprise for you a little later on in the show. So stay tuned. We'll be back in just one moment.
You don't like old milk. Deer don't like old urine. Brown and cloudy urine reeks of ammonia. Ammoniated urine means it's old, not fresh, and it doesn't fool deer. Top Secret Deer Scents, the only scent on the market that's oxygen-free from collection to bottle. It's yellow and clear because it's fresh. It's the only scent on the market that says a deer is here now and not last week.
All right, folks, listen, we're back, and listen, we want to take a second to let you know that we appreciate last week, I was up in New York, upstate New York, doing, believe it or not, a Hunting the Rut seminar, and we were at Davis Sports Shop. And folks, all you guys that lives up there in Slotsburg, New York, they have two great locations, great people. This is a fine little community and just a great big store. It is amazing the amount of inventory these folks have of hunting in April. I mean, you would love to find a store anywhere in the country that had this kind of hunting inventory in deer season, let alone in spring. It was amazing. Great shop, Davis Sports Shop, and we enjoyed our time out there to come do seminars. We're going to come back and do some more seminars. I believe they got two locations, and that's in Slotsburg, New York. But let me tell you a little story. I left New York, Slotsburg, and I'm coming around New York City. Well, Slotsburg, if this is New York City, the city, I'm going around. Well, I use OnStar. I'm talking to my son. I'm in about 8 lanes of traffic. I know I'm north of the city, so Don's paying attention. I travel a lot. Obviously not too good. I miss a turn. OnStar tells me, hey, left the route. And before I could get OnStar recalculated, I was in the Bronx of New York City. Now, folks, I want to tell you something. Unless you're in New York City, and I do a lot of travel, been in New York State a lot. I know how everybody feels about the city. Even though you're in New York, you feel about the city like a lot of folks feel about the city. It's a different world. It is amazing. It's the first time that I've been in the Bronx, and I've traveled for 30 years. That is amazing. Guys, America is in a pickle right now, and there's a lot of things going on. And folks that's watching this show, there's 14 million deer hunters, and there's more deer hunters than there are armed forces in the U.S. There's more deer hunters than the top 20 industrialized nations, armies of the world combined. More deer hunters. Don't think in bad times that you as a hunter is not going to make a difference in America. The closest thing to a Minuteman, back in the Revolutionary days, you had a Minuteman. That's in a moment's notice. You would call, they would send the word out into the community, and all the farmers and the tradesmen would grab their musket and they'd come to the aid. The closest thing America has to that is 14 million deer hunters. And folks, that's some firepower. And those are good people. And so we are the heart and the soul of this country. And I would remind you of that and take that serious, because you live in every community in America. We're the Minutemen. But I did make my way through and went out by came across the George Washington Bridge. And folks, if you've ever been across that, that's in dire need of being repaired. I mean, I'm looking at concrete chunks as big as footballs, and you can see the rebar in the bridge, and it was bent. And these folks steadily going across it, and they go across it every day. Man, did I tell you I live in Furman, Alabama, not 12,000 people in the entire county. There's not 200 people in the community that I live in. It's nice. All right, let me tell you what we're going to do tonight. We got you a full show tonight. It is mid-April. The deer are recouping all over the country, not only here. But see, listen, last week in New York it snowed. I mean, there was snow as big as quarters. It was wet. It didn't stick, really. It stuck long enough, but it melted. But nevertheless, it snowed on me in New York last week. We've been cutting grass down here for 2 months. Now, what does that mean? That means that the deer in the southeast is ahead of the Midwest and Northeast, because they haven't recovered yet from the winter kill. Of course, even though the winter wasn't bad up there, you didn't have the winter kill traditional sense, but you still didn't have the browse and the food. Down here, we've been in full bloom. I mean, we've been cutting grass for 2 months, and plenty of browse, fawns dropping, plenty of food. Our animals catch up. So even though the peak of the rut here, you ended before us, you would think you'd be ahead of us. But we catch up with you, and then you catch up with us. And right now you're starting to catch up with us as the Midwest and the Northeast is blooming up a little bit. And you ought to be about out of the snow up there in the Northeast. So you're going to start to green up a little bit, and these deer up there can start kind of getting over the winter and prepare for this coming fall. So that's happening all over the place. And look, I told you we got you a good show tonight. We got people calling in. We got you a surprise coming up in just a second. I believe we got our first caller. Is that correct? Yep, that's correct. All right, you got Don Bell. Who we talking to?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hey, is this Mr. Don Bell?
It is. Who is this, Sean?
Oh, hey. Yes, it's me. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, Sean. Sean, where are you out of?
I'm out of Ironton, Ohio.
What county are you in?
Lawrence.
Sean, how close is that? Where's that in the state? In proportion, in relation to Columbus?
It's on the bottom of the state. I'm 2 miles from Kentucky and about 10 miles from West Virginia state line. It's a tri-state area to me, West Virginia, Ohio, Kentucky.
Well, you got some good deer there now.
Yes. I've seen three good doe today driving.
Well, Hocking County would be north of you then.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's a good county.
Yes, sir, it is.
Yes, sir. But I mean, all of Ohio's coming good. You know, of course, people in Pennsylvania is going to hear me say this, but you know it. Pennsylvania loves to come to Ohio to go deer hunting, don't they?
Yes, sir, they do.
Of course, but they kind of filter in that. Yeah, they kind of stay in that northern part because it's just too far to come down in the real good stuff. But man, from where
they got the good bear up there, though.
Yeah. Did you say bear?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about Pennsylvania. Having said that, do you know where some of the biggest bear, and this shocks most people, some of the biggest bear in America, black bear, is being taken?
Where?
On the shores of North Carolina. I'm talking about on the water. On the what you see the Atlantic. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't think that North Carolina, being a coastal state, would have that dense of a bear population.
And I'm talking big bear. If you Google big bear and look at the size of the bear being killed and the number of bear in North Carolina, and especially along the coast, it's crazy. They are big black bear there. You know, it's just. But man, you live in a great part of the world, so you know, hang in there. Are you from there?
What is it?
Are you from?
Oh, yeah. No, I used to live in Pennsylvania, but I'm from Ohio. Yeah, I was born and raised in Ohio, but I used to live up there near Harrisburg in Pennsylvania, up there in York County.
Okay. Yeah. We go up in. Well, we used to go up and hunt in Tioga County, and God, what is the big county up there? Dad, blame it. Has all the hunters in it. The biggest. Golly, we filmed in that county.
In Ohio?
No, Pennsylvania. Has all. They have more licensed hunters there. God dog it. Anyway, but yeah, Pennsylvania. Listen, we were talking before the show. Was the time was running, and we were talking, and the average deer age killed in Pennsylvania is about 18 months old, and the reason.
Wow. They're pretty good judges up there to be able to sort of tell between a sow and a boar. That's hard to judge in a tree to be able to look at their head or the size of their body or the way they walk. To judge a sow and a boar like that, that'd be good to do that.
Well, in deer, the average age of a white-tailed buck killed is 18 months, and the reason, and I'm talking about Pennsylvania, and the reason for it is you got 1 million deer hunters, so they don't get to walk around much without somebody shooting them. It's we're talking before the show. It's the largest standing armed army in the world. Every first day of gun season in Pennsylvania, it's the largest armed army. There's 1 million people in the woods with a gun loaded.
Wow.
It's crazy, isn't it? You think about it that way.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
It looks like it looks like a pumpkin patch, don't it? Nothing but orange. But well, listen, we're glad you called in tonight. What kind of question you got?
My question is you've been, you've invented a bunch of the, being the inventor of things and, the top secret and the code blue and stuff like that. I asked these guys last week and they gave me some pretty good insight, but you being the master of it all, what are the most common mistakes that somebody does when they're going out to make mock scrapes and, try to mimic other scrapes and stuff like that? And how long is urine good for after it's collected from bottle to the scrape site, and is it usable after a certain time or whatever?
Yes, a couple things. One is, I've been in the industry for about 30 years. I bottled tinks, but I didn't invent tinks. I didn't start tinks. Tink Nathan did, but we bought tinks and then I bottled it for years and did code blue and top secret. But to answer your question is, to make a mock scrape or to hunt a scrape, you want to use buck urine. Okay. The other day up in New York, it shocks people. Of course, if you watch this show much, you know my answer to this is that you put a gun to my head, and I had to kill a buck anywhere in North America, I'm going to take buck urine over estrus. And most people think estrus. Buck urine, bucks right now today in Ohio are running together. They got back together in bachelor groups, but most hunters thinks the buck is primarily concerned with the doe because they're thinking peak of the rut, buck chasing a doe. Well, the fact of the matter is, 98% of the year he could give a rat's butt about her, if that's a good term.
2% he wants it.
That's right. But during the rest of the time, he spends most of his life with other bucks. So understanding that bucks are in pecking order. So it doesn't matter if you're in Ohio, Southern, Northern, Pennsylvania, Alabama, bucks are in bachelor groups. So when you make a mock scrape, what you want to put in it is, now when you say a mock scrape, a lot of times you bow hunt or gun hunt?
A bow hunt.
All right. Are you talking about doing a mock scrape pre-rut The rut's broken
Yes,
into
sir.
3 periods,
Yes,
pre,
sir.
peak, and post.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Most mock scrapes are made during pre-rut. So,
Yes, sir.
where do you make it? And how do you make it? Well, here's a general rule. If you found scrapes last year, anywhere you found scrapes last year, you're going to find scrapes this year, or you ought to. And even if you killed Tom, and he was making the rubs and the scrapes, you kill Tom, Chris is going to come in and take that over. So it's location, location, location. So a lot of people, they'll kill a good buck and leave. Well, you don't need to leave. It's a good location. The only reason Chris isn't in there, Tom will kick his butt. Ain't that right? Ain't that right, Tom? So Tom said, yes, Chris is his son. So, but the point is that you use buck urine. So when you use buck urine in a mock scrape or a real scrape, it's an infringement concept. So it's like coming home smelling Old Spice knowing you don't wear it.
Right.
So how you make it is you can't overthink it. Scrapes, pre-rut scrapes normally are not underneath an overhanging limb. That's a primary scrape that normally happens just before the peak of the rut. But you can get you a limb, not your foot, even though you've killed your human odor, and I'm assuming you're doing that. If you don't,
sir.
we got a great product called Scent Defense. It's called 3-in-1. It kills your human odor. It repels ticks, mosquitoes, chiggers, black flies. Plus, it's an attractant. It's neat.
I asked just before I go ahead. I'm gonna ask you this again after you finish telling me that.
Oh yeah. So you use your buck urine. Now, so you get your limb. Just open up your scrape. And it doesn't have to be big. Pre-rut, what they call a secondary scrape, I call a frustration scrape. And the reason that Tom's making that, what people call a secondary scrape during pre-rut, the reason he's doing it, that once a buck sheds velvet, Sean, anywhere in America, he's in rut. Anytime a white-tailed buck sheds his velvet, biologically that buck is in rut and he can breed. Now, I didn't say, a lot of people hear you say that and they go, really? What most people think you're saying is they're confusing that with a doe being an estrus. I didn't say she was an estrus. I said once he comes out,
hormones are gone.
he can biologically breed. The urge to do so is a gradual buildup. He's got the urge, but it just starts getting greater and greater and greater and greater as you go toward pre-peak. That's the reason they call it peak. So as he comes out of velvet, he's in rut. Now, and he's in rut all the way to the time he drops his antlers. So now I want you to think about what I just told you. Opening day of bow season in Ohio. Are they out of velvet or in velvet?
Out of velvet.
That's right. So guess what? He's in rut. Uh-oh. Now wait a minute. If he's in rut the opening day of bow season in Ohio, that begs the question, doesn't it? Well, how long is that sucker in rut? Well, if he's the last day of hunting season, whatever the last legal day you can hunt in Ohio, do they still have antlers?
Some do, some don't. They give antlerless tags.
Yes.
But
Antlerless doe.
Yeah.
So, but most is still going to have their antlers. So, if that's the case, when is the rut in the state of Ohio? The entire hunting season. So, if you think the rut is when a buck's chasing a doe, then you're missing 2/3 of the hunting season, hunting rut tactics. The peak of the rut is when a doe is an estrus. When you see a doe being chased, and I'm sure you've seen it, you say, Don, look at that doe. That doe's in what? Estrus. Yeah, but she's not. The word estrus means an animal will stand and not run. If you've ever seen a buck chase a doe, you got to think, well, why in the heck is she running? Well, she's running because she's not in. She's coming in. The reason she's running, she's coming in and she don't want to be fooled with. The peak of the rut is when the majority of the does are standing and not running. The word estrus literally means an animal will stand and not run. So when you see a buck chasing a doe, she's not in estrus. She's coming into estrus, and that's the reason he's chasing her, and the reason she's running, she don't want to be fooled with. Once she comes in, she's going to stand to a dominant buck, or she's going to stand to a spike. When she's ready, by God, she's ready. And the only reason the young buck can't, because the big buck's going to kick his butt.
You just gave me a whole new outlook, Don, on my tactics. I got to freshen up my tactics now.
Well, what happens is, and what happens is you lose 2/3 of the hunting season using rut tactics. So let's go back to your original question now. You get you a limb, pre-rut, opening day of bow season, man, you walk through there and you may find you some rub lines, because once he comes out of velvet, the reason you want to make a mock scrape is because once he comes out of velvet, Tom comes out of velvet, and Tom's bald-headed, I'm looking at him. When Tom comes out of velvet, what happens is, the very first thing he does is he'll go along and make a rub line, taking the velvet off. But it's called signposting. Have you ever hunted in, pre-rut scouting, and you find a rub line? It looks like a fence road going down through the woods. You can kind of line them up.
When you see a rub, you look down, you bend down, you see the next one.
That's right. Now, all you have run across is the 2x4 wall of his house. Because during pre-rut, he's going to form him up a house where he's going to live during the rut, which is the entire season. So when Tom comes out of velvet, now you think about a given buck you're trying to hunt on your property. Right now, you visualize where you're talking about making a scrape.
Yeah.
Pre-rut, he's that buck, opening day of bow season. You probably already will find this, the opening day of bow season in Ohio, where he's making a rub line. All right.
Yeah.
Then
all the time.
you'll see little secondary scrapes. And as a general rule, Tom won't, in pre-rut, he's out of velvet, he can biologically breed, and what happens is he's frustrated. He goes along and he paws at the ground. He'll hit it and he'll leave it. He'll hit it and he'll leave it. He may have 2, 5, 10, 15, 20 of these little secondary scrapes in pre-rut all the way around that property or around a given area. But as a general rule, he doesn't mark it. And if he doesn't mark it, he's not going to come check it. So, and the reason he's doing that, he's frustrated. He's all dressed to go to the prom. He's got his little tux on, his little bow tie. He's out in the car with the motor revved up. He's ready to go to the prom. Problem is, there's no does dressed to go to the prom because there's no does in what?
No, in estrus.
Dude, he's frustrated. So he's hitting it and leaving these little secondary scrapes, but he's not marking them. And if he's not marking them, he's not checking them. You and I go see it, we get all excited, sit on it, and don't see a deer. So now let's go back to your question. You can open up one of them little frustration scrapes, put buck urine in it. In pre-rut, another buck smells that. He's not mad because it's pre-rut. He's just seeing who the new kid on the block is. Now, because they're still in pecking order. Now, you let him smell that same buck urine during the peak rut at his primary scrape underneath an overhanging limb, dude, that's like coming home smelling Old Spice knowing you don't wear it. Now he's mad. So buck urine starts good, gets better. So, but yes, get you a short answer to all that is get you a limb, open up you a little mock scrape. It could just be a couple feet. You ain't got to get concise with it. Dude, just kind of make them leaves out. Don't overthink it. He's not. The buck's not overthinking it. Now, just hit it. Go along that ridge road there, or that 2-trail road, or the edge of the fence, the edge of the field. You know where it was last year. Put you somewhere this year.
All right. How long is the ball of urine good for? I mean, is there like a timeline? Like say you go to Walmart and yours to Dick's or somewhere like that, because where we live around here, we don't have a Cabela's for 100 miles. It's retarded. But say you get Code Blue, and
Code Blue.
You want to use
hurt my heart.
And learn it. The information I just learned now. How long is that good for?
Well, let me tell you. Let's clarify that. You said Code Blue, and of course we make Top Secret. Do you know what?
They don't carry Top Secret at Walmart here.
They will this year. They will, because we'll ship it about June. So all your national accounts I have Top Secret. So, but to answer your question is the difference between Top Top Secret and Code Blue is both are single urines. The difference between Top Secret and Code Blue is Top Secret is no oxygen.
Yeah, that's a bad thing.
That's it. It turns urine dark. Dark urine says the deer was there.
Yeah.
Clear, oxygen-free urine, first time you pour it out in that mock scrape is the first time it hits oxygen. And when Tom comes by, that tells Tom right then that there's another buck there now. He was just here. If you pour dark urine out and Tom comes by, Tom says, well, damn, there was a deer here. He ain't here now. He was here yesterday, but he ain't here now. Now, if you're going to go get up in a tree in Ohio and freeze your butt off, you want to tell Tom that you were here or that you are there?
I want to tell him I am here now.
Look, common sense says that. Well, only Top Secret gives you that. And Top Secret is changing the industry. It's not complicated.
I've done my homework on your company and on you, you know, mostly for the most part, you know. But I know that I chatted with you a little bit online, and you know, I believe that, you know, if you done it for 30 years, you obviously know what you're talking about. So
well, it's a simple elevation. You know, deer urinate 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, whether we believe it or not. That's what they do. They communicate. They're out there on. What's crazy about that? Right now, on your piece of property where you hunt, they're urinating. They're communicating.
Yeah, everywhere. Yeah.
So, but yeah, and listen, this year get you some buck urine. Make that mock scrape. You buy our stuff. It's good. Once you open it, we have a pump that you can pump it out. The Scent Saver pump. I got it right here. I don't know if you can see the screen, but if you can't, you can log in and tomorrow and see it. It's a Scent Saver system. You can pour the urine in it, put it in, and pump it out. And that way,
twice, don't you? 3 times.
Yeah, 2 or 3 times. You'll hear it click. Listen.
Yeah.
Hear it?
Yeah.
So that takes the oxygen back out. That way you can use it all the way down. It's still fresh. So get you some this year. Kill us a buck. Send us a picture.
I will.
Hey, listen, and you call in anytime. We're glad to talk to you.
All right, thank you, man. Thank you, sir. It's good talking to you.
Sean, good to talk to you. Tell everybody about the show.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye. All right, folks, we'll be right back. Take a quick commercial break and come back and do it all over again. Be right back.
From Don Bell, the founder of Code Blue, comes Top Secret Reserve Doe Esters, the finest doe esters ever collected. Top Secret oxygen-free collection process is a complete generation above Code Blue. Our patent-pending collection process means no ammonia and no ammonia smell. At a limited quantity of 12,000 bottles, only 1/10% of hunters will be lucky enough to add Top Secret to their arsenal. Visit TopSecretDeerScent.com today and join the 1/10% Club.
All right, folks, we back, and I just got chastised. Big Chris, Big Chris I said we'd be right back 4 times. I'm just letting you know, folks, we ain't leaving you. It's not the end of the show. We're coming back. Here we are. Now, let me tell you what you're seeing on your screen right up there behind me. Folks, we're in open enrollment. Look up there, you see Top Secret 1/10% Club. It is that time of year. You get your chance to get, now all the club members, all of you boys, you know to renew. Here's your chance to make sure nobody can take that 1/10% club membership away from you. Every bottle here, there's only 12,000 bottles of that. That's one doe, 3-4-year-old mature doe, that has never seen oxygen. Plus, this bottle, you can't say it don't work. We pulled that old boy off of her. That is in process urine. And there's only 12,000 bottles. And let me tell you what open enrollment means. Open enrollment means that right now, these 12,000 bottles, and it's not all 12,000 because membership keeps that membership going. So don't think, oh, I got plenty of time. You don't. It's like season tickets at the University of Alabama. I'm not going to mention to you they won another national championship because that would be rude of me being from Alabama to do that. So I'm not going to do it. But I would remind you, go online and try to get a season tickets for the University of Alabama game. It ain't going to happen. You're going to go have to Skype them rascals because there ain't none. Because they want to go to another national championship, so they buy them out early. You see what I'm talking about? That's first come, first serve. You have 2 ways to get that tonight. Open enrollment. You can go in there, and guys, I think you'll show them up on the screen there. You'll be able to see on the screen. You can go to the website and go to the 1/10% Club icon. Click on that bad boy, and it'll bring you down. You can join 2 ways. You can buy tonight. buy your bottle. You join a club. There's not a membership fee. You join only by purchasing a bottle. You can do it one way. You can buy it and say, Don, I want that sent to me tonight. Well, you can buy it, pay for it tonight. We'll send it to you. Or what's neat is you can pay for it over time. And so you can buy it tonight, 3-4 payments, and say, I want to buy it, and you $25 a month for 4 months, and you can buy it tonight, Mama, I'm not saying Mama won't know you broke out the card. I'm just saying you can get your bottle, $25 a month, and say, you know what, I want it to come in September. And we'll ship it to you in September, like Brandon and them coming up here, and the gentleman just a second ago, he could buy it and also have it for this coming fall. So, open enrollment, you can buy it now, or you can buy it over 4 months with a future ship date, folks. First come, first serve. Join the 1/10 of 1% Club. Don't get left out. All right, folks. Let's see here. Where we going to be at, guys? All right, we're going to take a couple Facebook. Okay. Clinton Clark, New Brunswick, Canada. It's amazing where these questions come from. Which scent works best in the early season? Now, Big Clinton, if you were listening to our conversation just a second ago, from our caller up in, or down from you in Ohio, up from us, buck urine. It doesn't matter if you're in Canada or if you're in Florida. For that matter, if you're in Mexico, whitetail. Whitetail's whitetail. In early season, you want to use buck urine. They're coming out of velvet. They're in pre-rut. You want buck urine. In fact, Clinton, you want to use buck urine every day of the hunting season. It's going to start good, and it's going to get better. He's going to become more aggressive to it the closer it gets to the peak of the rut up there in New Brunswick. Whether it's Canada, Alabama, buck urine. All right, I believe we got us a caller coming in. All righty, you got Don Bell. Who we talking to? Yes, sir. Who we got?
Hey, this is Ronnie.
Ronnie, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing good, Don. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Ronnie, where you out of?
We're out of Ellenville, Georgia.
All right, now you tell me where Ellenville is. What's that near?
Ellenville is about 45 miles of Albany, Georgia.
All right, I got you.
East of Columbus.
Yeah, you're south of Columbus.
Actually, due east of Columbus, about 45 miles also.
I'm trying to think of the name. There's a little antique place over south of, I guess they would be almost south of you. What's the name of that little town? It's a little bitty place. And he buys antiques in from over out of Europe and brings them in canisters. Doggone it.
Could be, let me think.
A little bitty place, historical place, but it's not very big. And
down around Harris, Georgia.
What's the name of it?
There.
Yeah, that. Yeah, that sounds about right. Well, look, what kind of question you got for us tonight?
A question is, of course, our season opens around the end of October and it runs to about the middle of January. Would you recommend using like a day and heat type lure from opening day to end of season? Or do you do like a series of different lures throughout the season? How do you do that?
Yeah, Ronnie, it's a good question, and we just had a Facebook question similar to that, and we just had a caller in from Ohio, southern Ohio, had the same type question. Well, his question was over how to make a mock scrape and what scent do you use. What you want to use, in fact, the Facebook question was from a guy in New Brunswick, Canada. Same answer to you. In pre-rut, the ruts is broken into 3 periods: pre-peak and post-rut. So early season, pre-rut, it doesn't matter if you're in Georgia. Like, of course, we're in Alabama and North Florida, so all of us is about the same. When a buck comes out of velvet, he's in rut. So when season opens over in southern central Georgia there, are the bucks in or out of velvet? Or you right? They're out of velvet. Are you bow hunting?
No, that's young season.
Okay, what I'm saying is, are you? The question that you have, you're talking about pre-rut and which scent. So what you want to do is use buck urine. opening day of bow season, you use buck urine. And the reason for it, bucks are in bachelor groups. And so they're running together. So when you use buck urine, and it really doesn't matter really, Ronnie, if you use it in Georgia, us in Alabama, the gentleman that just called in from Ohio, or the gentleman that just, Clinton Clark up in New Brunswick, Canada, that just had a question in early season, it's the same because it's pre-rut. A whitetail is a whitetail is a whitetail. The only difference between our whitetail in Alabama and Georgia versus Ohio or Minnesota or Canada is topography. That's it, and pressure. It's a whitetail's whitetail, ears, eyes, nose.
Right.
So you use buck urine. And when you put buck urine out, any buck smells it. He's not coming in to fight the opening day of bow season in Georgia. He's just coming in to see who the new kid on the block is. And he's not mad. He just wants to see who he is to put him at a pecking order. Well, heck, you don't care. You just want his butt standing there, don't you? So you don't care who he's looking for. You just want to shoot him. And so use that same buck urine in that same spot when that buck is in the peak of the rut at a primary scrape. Now he's mad. Now it's like coming home smelling Old Spice. So buck urine starts good and gets better. You use buck urine every day of the hunting season in Georgia. Every day. Literally. Every day you go out. Now, once he starts chasing a doe, I add estrus. I don't put them together, but I trail them in together. I keep using my buck, but then I start using estrus with it. Now you got a buck chasing a duck. Or you got estrus in the scrape with the buck urine. Now you got a primary scrape, or what I call a master bedroom. So the answer would be buck urine. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm following. Yeah, perfect.
Are you hunting over scrapes or?
Yeah, they are scrapes in the area, mainly on a food plot though. Trying to put them out in that food slot. I actually got a couple of scrapes right on the edge of it.
What county is Ellenville in?
That's Slide County.
Say it again.
Slide County.
Okay. Once you get, back during the 50s and 60s, really middle, late 50s, just east of you, over around, what's east of Columbus there?
Macon County.
No, I'm thinking, doggone it. It's right on the Alabama-Georgia line. Huh?
Yeah, you're talking about Stewart County.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the doggone place. So, but anyway, back during the 50s, they brought some Michigan strain deer in. So really, the bucks there in that area, kind of their peak of the rut. I almost said it when you did that. Doggone it! I'll think of it in just a second. But there's a block in there, right there in that Alabama-Georgia line, mostly over into Georgia. Callaway Gardens. Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of. In that area there, you got a strain that was brought in there, and the does will start coming in a little different there than in the rest of it over there, and that's one of the reasons for that. But it's a
close to that cutoff line. I know exactly where you're talking about there.
Yeah, a good area to hunt now.
It was always strange to me how the rut was here, and we're only talking 40 miles over to where you're talking about. It's a different cycle, I guess. It is,
and that's one of the reasons is because of that Michigan strain deer they brought in there back during the 50s and 60s. And it is Bill Jordan, Realtree. We were hunting over there one time. He has a place over there, and that crazy youngin put me up. He said, "Now you go down here, and daylight, and he's got a thing on look like a 100-year-old map, and he said, all right, I'm going to drop you off here, and you're going to go down this fire line, you're going to go over here and get here, you're going to see a flag and get up in the tree." I did that, and it got daylight, and I was sitting in the middle of a dang cemetery. I ain't lying, I was sitting in it was like an abandoned cemetery, and I'm sitting up above graves. Dude, I mean, some of them was cracked, and I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, is this a joke or am I really hunting? I come out and I said, man, are you crazy? He said, no, it's a good place. I'm thinking, Lord, have mercy. So, but that's one of the reasons why you got that little block in there. But guys, it's crazy. You want to use buck urine and use it every day of the year. It's going to start good and get better. And grunt with it. Grunting and rattling simply puts a deer downwind. Think about it. And the reason he's going downwind is he wanting to smell what he's hearing. And when you grunt, that's an infringement. You're telling a buck another buck's tending a doe. Well, who's doe? Right. Well, Ronnie's doe. Well, dude, that ain't good. So Ronnie goes downwind. Well, guess what he's wanting to smell? He's not wanting to smell a doe. He's wanting to smell a buck. That'd be like you coming home smelling those spice, flip the light on. Who you looking for, her or him?
I got you. I'll follow you.
Dude, it ain't hard to figure that out. You know, you're looking for him. And so we just, most hunters, it doesn't matter what, and if you listen to this show every week, and this has always been the case, it's an educational process, but most hunters, we overthink it. And we make it complicated. A white-tailed deer is phenomenally smart, but that rascal's phenomenally habitual. He does the same thing over and over. Look, he got but 3 defenses: ears, eyes, nose. And we know what's the most important: nose. And so pressure, he's lazy, and he's going to do the same thing. The pressure makes him do something else. And it's like playing chess, you know, and boy, is it fun.
You can get caught up in having 15 different type of lures when you only need the 2 like you're speaking of.
Yeah, you want to look anywhere in the country. You want to use early season buck urine or regular doe urine. Doe urine is for, you know, it'll call in a doe. Let's say you just want to put some does up. And I personally can, just like canning peas or green beans, I can about 6 does a year. And you ever canned deer?
No, I haven't.
Dude, I'm telling you, we got to do a show on this. If you ever can deer, man, that's like roast beef. That's fine. I take that back. I have had some experience with some canned beef, beer beef. It's good now. I mean, you can come in, I can put you a pot of soup on with some rice and some cornbread. I'll have you a meal in just no time. And you'll swear I've been up cooking. But anyway, buck urine and doe urine pre-rut, and then, of course, you estrus during the peak of the rut. Anywhere in the country, of course, you want to kill your human odor and stuff as well.
Right.
So, pretty neat stuff. Well, listen, let's see. I know I'm talking to Ronnie, and I believe Brandon as well.
Yes, you got Brandon here with me, and he's trying to learn a little something about hunting too. We all love to hunt, and
well, listen. I tell you something else. Now we love it, and obviously we talk about it every Thursday night, 52 weeks a year. But let me tell you, I believe now, Ronnie, you got us a little surprise with Brandon. Brandon, kind of tell me real quick what you do, and we're gonna, when you tell me. We're gonna, guys. Well, let me set this up, man. And guys, you correct me if I'm wrong on this. What Brandon Wheeler, Brandon, did you write this song?
I did. It's actually the first song that I ever wrote.
Really?
Hunting's always been a passion of mine, and when I got into singing and songwriting, first thing that came to my mind was deer hunting, and I wrote this song just over the course of about a day or two. And never dreamed, once that it would have the impact that it did all over the U.S. thanks to Above the Game for doing this video.
Well, I tell you what, we have a lot of requests. You can imagine any talk show, and Kim come in to me today and said, "Well, we got a gentleman who wants to call in, and he's got a Facebook site, and he's written a song, and could we play it?" And I said, "Well, we normally just don't do that." And she looked at me, she said, "You need to hear this."
That's awesome.
And I said, okay, all right. So she emailed it to me. And so this is the first time we've ever done it. And there's a reason we're doing it. And folks that's listening tonight, I think you'll see the reason why. And so, guys, what we're going to do, we're fixing to play it. And guys, Brandon, Ronnie, while the song is playing, the 3 of us will be able to talk. And the viewers won't be able to hear us, but because they're listening and watching the song song. Though they're seeing it, and we're seeing it on the screen here. The three of us won't be able to hear it, but they will. So, guys, let's play the song. And hey, Brandon, tell them what the name of it is.
All the Biggins.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Sitting in a tree, it's freezing cold. I can't feel my toes. I'll be up here all day long. There ain't no going home. 'Cause I'm down in the woods where the big boys live, down where the monster roams. Freezing to death's a small price to pay when you're taking old biggin home. It's 3:30, I'm still in this tree, waiting on a biggin to show. Ain't seen a thing all day, things ain't going my way, it's even starting to snow. It better happen real soon, next week's a full moon, only 2 more hours to go. What's that sound? Is it a squirrel on the ground? No, I think I see a dove. 'Cause I'm down in the woods where the big boys live, down where the monster roams. Freezing to death's a small price to pay when you're taking old biggin home. See, this time of year when you see a doe, old biggin's bound to show. My luck's about to change down the shooting lane, old biggin's chasing the doe. He was wide and tall and made for my wall, his time had just ran out. And when I raised the rifle to my shoulder, he was all I could think about. When I fired around, the doe ran off, so big it fell to the ground. Go and get the truck and load him up, and old biggin's heading into town. 'Cause I was down in the woods where the big boys live, where old biggin used to roam. Freezing to death don't matter no more, 'cause I'm taking old biggin home. He was putting on a show, chasing that doe. Now I'm bringing old biggin home.
It's got everything. It's going everywhere. First night of the stand. And it's done. Woo!
We're live again, and we got Ronnie and Brandon Wheeler, the gentleman that produced and wrote the song, and great message, great song. And we were just chatting about, tell them what you just said about the doe, what you were writing.
Oh yeah, about my favorite line in the whole song is, what's that sound of a squirrel on the ground? No, I think I see a doe. Around here hunting, you always hearing those sounds in the woods, and I can't tell you how many times a squirrel has ticked me off. You hear a sound coming, it's getting closer and closer and closer, and you kind of getting ready, anticipating seeing that deer, and all of a sudden you see that little flick of the squirrel tail, and it's like,
I know it.
You're ready for it, and it ends up being a squirrel.
And anybody tells you they hadn't stood on that sound with a bow's lying through their teeth.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And what guys, during the song, Ronnie, Brandon and I were talking, of course you couldn't hear us, but we were listen, I was thinking he was going to say armadillo because, of course, they're from Georgia and we're from Alabama, and everybody in the southeast down, them old boys up in the north, they going, what? Dude, I used to carry an armadillo arrow with me bow hunting, and we we'd have, you know Eddie Salter. Eddie Salter out of Alabama, Turkey out of Evergreen. Eddie's been in the industry as long as I have. But anyway, we used to have a armadillo rodeo. We'd see who could get the biggest armadillo. And, you know, you try to pin them to the ground. Of course, the armadillo, when you shoot him, you know, you got to shoot him right behind that head because, you know, obviously the shell. But anyway, if you don't pin him right, of course, an armadillo wants to jump. And, man, that sucker will bleed like a pig. Nasty looking sucker.
They sure will.
Won't they? I mean, you know. But anyway, we digest off of the digest to digress. Listen, I don't get away with nothing here because I got two guys that's looking at me, and son, they catch it all. And if you listen to this show very much, you know I don't pay attention to it much. But, all right, well, look. Guys, everybody listening, we're going to put all of Brandon's contact information up there where you can go in here and get in contact with Brandon. Brandon, the contact information, can they purchase songs? Is there a place with this contact information we have on the screen? You got Brandon Wheeler.
Absolutely. I've got a link on my website, BrandonWheelerMusic.com.
Yep.
And there's a link on that website that'll take you straight to iTunes, and they can actually download the track for Old Biggin that we just got to listen to, and they can do it on iTunes, Amazon MP3, anywhere that online music is sold. They can download that along with the rest of my album that I have out, titled Cruise Control. So a lot of good songs on there, all recorded in Nashville, Tennessee, with some really good musicians. So you can find any of that information on the website.
Well, we'll put it up there and keep it up there and have the links to where all the listeners can get it. And Tom, does that link back to our website too, or to our Facebook? But we'll promote it back out there for you. And listen, after the show, you guys give me a call tomorrow, and we'll see if we can't do some of the stuff like we were talking about at the ATA and some of these distributor shows.
Absolutely. All
right, guys. Well, man, we're glad you called in, and you guys are a hoot. Keep Georgia alive over there.
We're going to try. Thank you, Don.
All right, guys. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks. Right. Bye-bye. All right, guys. We take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Rise and shine. It's time to hunt. Repel and kill the bugs that bug you most with the all-natural 100% D3 BioShield.
You've waited your whole life for this moment. Don't spoil your opportunity because of poor preparation. Keep your optics clean and fog-free for a clear shot every time. Fog Zero.
Introducing Scent Defense, a revolutionary 3-in-1 formula from Top Secret. Infused with antimicrobial silver copper synergy technology to attack odor before it starts. Fortified with NeuroX to attack and repel insects instantly. Scent Defense is specifically formulated to attract deer while simultaneously destroying odor. Scent Defense, the 3-in-1 formula for success.
All right, folks, we're back. Hey, pretty neat song in it, and if you listen to the words, ain't 100 live, can't understand what old Brandon was singing right there. And listen, go to that, hit the link, go to it, purchase the iTunes, tell all your friends about it. Great, and nothing better than putting that message out there, and your kids can live it, you can live it, your father, everybody can understand and live that song. All right, we're going to take a couple, we're going to try to catch up with some Facebook questions here. Mike Mead, Big Mike, hadn't heard from Mike in a while, from Southeast Kansas. Been trying to get Mike to adopt Steve and I to be able to go out there and just kind of hunt in Kansas when we want to. But anyway, when using buck urine foam on scrapes, how often would you freshen them up? Mike, every time you go out. Guys, everyone listening, and Mike, it's not just Southeast Kansas, it's anywhere. If you put urine out this morning, you want to put urine out this afternoon. Because if you don't, what happens is, now think about it. We go out, we go hunt this morning. We go out, we pour it out, we get up in the tree. We don't see a deer. We get down, we go eat, you know the routine, you eat, you go back in, you get up that afternoon, and a deer comes by, that tells a deer that there was a deer there this morning. Now, if you're not using Top Secret, it says a deer was there whenever because it's already ammoniated in dark brown. Dark urine says the deer was there. Clear yellow urine, oxygen-free, says the deer there's now. So, of course, I know Mike. So, what Mike is saying, you know, using Top Secret, when you pour it out now, it's fresh. If you wait and come back this afternoon, that urine's already 4 or 5 hours old, which says a deer was there, but he was there 4 or 5 hours ago. So Mike put you more urine out when you go back this afternoon. This afternoon's urine is fresher than what you poured out this morning. So it says that deer, if he smells this and smells this, he's going to say, hey, that deer's here now versus that deer was here. So it's a simple process. That's the reason Top Secret is changing the scent industry, because it tells the deer that a deer is there when you're there versus there was a deer there. Two different concepts. Very important concepts, but two different concepts. So put it out every time you go out, and don't forget, Mike, everybody else, pump that stuff out in between using it. Of course, now if you're using foam, in the case of what Mike's using here, you don't have to pump it out, because just don't open the bottle. You open the bottle, you put oxygen to it. There's no way to pump that back out of the foam. So just simply pump it. But yes, Mike, pump it out every time you go out. Because that's the first time it hits the ground. All right, let's see. We got us a BioShield question, and by the way, you just saw that commercial. Tom, BioShield, with all the Zika virus going on, is crazy. Tom did us a thing today. It was on Fox News. It's the number of cities. There was a big ramp up on it the first of the year, February. There it is. Look at the cities. Look at the color. The CDC is saying that it is. They're thinking 3-4 times worse now than what they estimated to be 2 months ago. And so there's 50 cities there, and that's as of today. That's being impacted by this, or they're going to think is going to be impacted by July on this. So our BioShield product is 100% natural. It repels mosquitoes, ticks, any kind of biting insects, and it lasts for 8 hours. It has a 95% repellency rate. It's 100% natural. Now here's the deal to that. It's not only 100% natural, you can put it on a child, you can put it on a baby. But we are the only ones in the world that has it in a body wash, and we also have it in a laundry detergent. Now I want you to think about that a second. If somebody told you that you could have a chance, now all the hunters know you kill your human odor, you wash your clothes, keep the deer from smelling you, and you take a field spray into the woods to kill the human odor because you're walking in. 14 million deer hunters understand that. There's a problem with mosquitoes in America that carries the virus Zika. Here's a triple protection system. You have the body wash, you have the laundry detergent, and you also have the spray. Great smell, 100% natural, 8 hours. And the way it works, it's simply almost all insects, certainly mosquitoes, but all insects produces a compound called octopamine. And basically it's a compound in the brain. Birds don't produce it, fish don't produce it, mammals do not produce it, only insects. And it's a redneck version of this, but it's like a firing pin in a car, in a piston in a car firing. All right, and what happens is that chemical is being produced in the brain. Our product, 100% natural, blocks it, and when it blocks it, shuts them down almost instantaneous. Now, folks, if you don't believe that, you get you a bottle of this stuff. You can go out there to ants and spray it on them. It's crazy. I was telling Tom that you can take our field spray and go out there and spray on them. 100% natural. Shuts it down. And so it blocks that transmitter That octopamine is a transmitter. It blocks it, shuts them down. 100% natural. Put it on a child. And the only ones in the world BioShield is with a body wash and a laundry detergent. It's called Triple Protection. So Jennifer in Raleigh, North Carolina, why does your detergent say 8 hours strong? Should I wait to wash my clothes until the day I need its protection? No. But what happens is, Jennifer, when you wash your clothes, like right now, you wash it, you put it up in the closet, or you fold it and put it up. It is a combination of out wearing it, heat, sun, all that exposure. It starts breaking it down once you get in it, and those combination of factors. The spray is topical. You can put that on you. Now, the shampoo is just that. Body wash, you can take a bath in it. Now, what people hear me say is I'm taking a bath in a bug repellent. No, it is a bug repellent, but it's 100% natural. It's a great smell. It's pleasant. I mean, we go to shows and we tell ladies all the time, lady will walk by and we'll say, hey, and they'll look at you like, and we say, no, you try this, you're going to be here tomorrow, aren't you? Yep. Give them a bottle, go wash your hair and come back tomorrow. And we've yet to have one come back and complain. It is that good as a shampoo conditioner. 100% natural, 95% repellency rate, and last 8 hours. So Jennifer, you're good to go. Do your clothing and just like you normally do. And look, like Jennifer's asking, think about it, folks. You're already washing your clothes. Why not have protection? You're already taking a bath, the family, the kids going to school, going to work. Why not have protection? You know to use the topical spray. And if you go to DEET, we did a show on this, you go to DEET's website or any of the other websites and look at it, it tells you plainly on the label, do not get this on you. For heaven's sakes, you take a bath with ours. 100% natural, 95% repellency rate. Great product. They're shutting me down. All right, folks, well, listen, we'll catch up next week. It's an hour. It is mid-April, and we're going to kick this bad boy off again next week. Tell your friends about it. Call in, Facebook, Skype, and we'll talk to you next Thursday night on Hunting the Rut Hotline. See you next week.